All right, now what else are we going to talk about? I don't know. People, when they get money, do they actually ever use it for improving themselves? Some probably do, like getting a better
Well,
education,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
Well, but sometimes bettering yourself isn't just an education. I mean, for example, you could have a struggling artist who comes into a windfall and is able to buy the supplies necessary to create a masterwork of art
I
or
think
something,
it comes
right?
more for whether or not, while he's being an artist, is he actually doing another job at the same time to do the real bill paying?
Well, what artist isn't?
But no, there are those that happen to accidentally be quite lucky because with all the different art styles and all the different kind of, even the knowledge about marketing techniques, there are those people who actually can come up with the right formula that it doesn't have to be art in the sense of what some critics would call real art, and yet at the same time it's popular. It has the kitsch kind of feel that somebody gets attracted to it because that's baby pictures or clown pictures, Red Skelton's whole paintings of the clowns and all this kind of stuff there. Things that will sell, or the cat pictures on the velvet, all that kind of thing, playing cards, or these kind of things have a more popular appeal. An artist can get his artistic feelings into them, and at the same time not necessarily be these Picasso type of artist things there. Of course, Picasso himself, I consider, was basically just another cat painter on velvet kind of thing, when he was doing all his weird distortions and all that.
Some of them were pretty weird.
Yeah, but basically art is something that you have to have a backup plan. And if you don't have that backup plan or the knowledge of how to actually sell what you have, then you will do a lot more struggling. And there are known people, well, like when they talk about, was it Goya or whichever one that cut his ear off? I can't remember now. My memory doesn't go for those kind of things. But the guy that cut his ears, he he spent all those years trying to sell. Most of them don't sell while they're alive. As soon as they die, now these guys use that as, well, he's never going to produce anymore. You better get it while you can.
Yeah,
This
sure.
is
You know what?
basically-
Dying actually does improve the value of your art.
That's just the way it seems to be. And that movie all those years ago with, I think it was Dick Van Dyke and a few others, where the artist faked his own death just so that he could get the value to go up. And then
Oh
they
my
keep on
gosh.
coming up with more undiscovered paintings.
Yeah.
He just keeps cranking them.
Freshly made
How
in the
many
basement
more
last
can-
week.
How many more can you crank out? This is basically the scam that you caught on eventually. But this is the kind of thing with the art that you, and any other kind of writing, you have to know how to come up with something that somebody will want to buy, and that's a lot harder. Yeah.
Okay, well, there's one more thing about money I want to talk on here. The question of charity. So let's say again,
Yeah.
we win the lottery,
Yeah.
$10 million. Would you give
Don't
any
go
to charity?
asking me for anything, please. I am not in the mood.
You heard it from Victor.
No, I do have sympathy for people, but when it comes to making my own contributions to their welfare, I will admit very frankly, I am not the kind of person that is willing to do that. I've spent most of my life, since at least 7 or 8 years old, the first time I realized how important money was. I want to keep it all. That's my whole idea, was I wanted to keep it all. I didn't want to share it. And that may not say very well for me. I admit it. But that's the way I feel. I don't want to share it. But at the same time, those people who do want to share it, they have to be able to actually know whether what they're doing with that money is going to be actually of use. The vast majority of charities are total rip-offs. Whether they'll admit it or not, whether you will be willing to believe it or not, all those things for the African fund and all this kind of stuff there, the 75% is just a little bit too much, I would assume, for having their expenses for running the thing there. Why would 25% be enough when they make hundreds of millions easily, and yet everybody knows that this is basically what happens? They have had the exposés over and over again as to...
Well, see, but you and I have different views on this. See, I give to charity.
Yeah.
But I have the philosophy that if you can't give when you have nothing, you won't give when you have something. And so, I mean, I've talked about it a few times, but I sponsor a child in Sierra Leone, Africa. And I've done some investigating. I know people that also give to this same charity. I think it's a great charity, Cause Canada. I mean, every charity has its flaw. I mean, every charity has its potential to be crooked. And in fact, there was a lot that went on with some of the earthquake there in Haiti, and they said, how much of this is actually going to go to them, right? And that's some of the things. But I think it's necessary to give something, and in giving, you actually receive more, is my philosophy.
Yeah, they do keep saying that if you give, you can get back, in the sense that other people are more willing to actually want to give back.
Maybe that's part of it, maybe.
But in the sense, my own experience is basically, I haven't actually had people wanting to give me very often, once in a while, but it wasn't enough that it actually made me feel like wanting to give back as well. It's just something that's part of me. I know that it's a flaw. I know that it's not the most attractive thing in the world, but I'm very willing to live with it. And like I was saying about answering the phone, telling the guys, if you're calling about money, drop dead or things like that.
That's what I'd say anyway, too.
Yeah, basically what it comes down to is that I would have to have a real, totally personal reason to be able to give the money. It would have to be something that would hit me in just the right way. If it doesn't, it's not going to happen, period.
Yeah, well, and that's the best way if you're going to give charity anyway. Because charity doesn't have to be to some organization that funds kids in Africa. Sometimes it's just...
It has to be more personal than a custom thing. Customs, no matter how many Jews and Christians and Muslims keep on talking about sharing with those who need, the vast majority will ignore it unless they themselves have had enough experience with the kind of thing that they know how it feels to be in need. But at the same time, that can burn a person very badly. It can cause their mind to warp to the point where they'll simply ignore other people's needs despite having known how it feels to be in need. It must have done that for me somewhere along the line. I don't know, but I think basically I would not be a very nice person to have money with if you're actually trying. You'd be able to run to get away from those dogs, definitely.
Well, okay, Victor, we're about at our 5-minute mark here, so so let's do a wrap-up. Victor, what are your final thoughts on this week, money, the lottery? What are your final thoughts of the week?
Ooh, gee. Do we actually have to have a final thought on that this time?
No?
No, because I think I've said everything that really counts.
Yeah? Actually, yeah, it was a good conversation, actually.
And just getting to the point where I could admit on camera what I'm really like. No,
okay,
that is more than I've ever been able to do.
Now, there's one thing I want to say about this, about Victor then. Okay, like what he just said, that it took a bit for him to, sort of be open and talk about, who he is and what he is and the reality of his life. Don't hate on Victor, okay?
You can hate me, but just don't make it too obvious.
Well, how many of you are like that? And I guarantee you there's more people like Victor than there are maybe like me. People out there have all different ideas and views, and I'm going to sneeze my brains out. People out there have all kinds of different views on life, and that doesn't make them right or wrong, it just makes them different. And that's what this world is about us having different views and finding some way to all get along, and damn if it isn't hard some days.
The people who want you to share with them the most are the ones that will very likely not do it in return.
No, that's right. They're usually the more greedy of the bunch to begin with.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But that's about as far as I can go now.
Okay, well, great wrap-up.
Thanks for asking me.
Hey, no problem. So, there we go. Another Friday with Victor, and we'll see you next time.
Have a good day. All right.
What should people do when they watch my videos?
They should rate, comment, and subscribe to The O'Reilly Show.
And they should comment where?
They should comment down there.
Below?
Below, yes.
Below, like underneath?
Underneath, yeah.
This video is Victor approved.